We have beautiful kids, 4 at home, right?
4 at home.
You have 4 at home.
Think about that.
Okay.
We had 4 before,
Yeah,
and
you
now
had
we
2.
have 7 with the blended.
Yes,
Okay.
there's 7
okay.
total.
I'm a senior in high school. I love football. That is like my first love. I grew up in Houston all my life, but I moved around a lot.
This will be our 26th year. We celebrated 25 last April, so this April will be 26. We dated 7 years before we married, so we've been together 32 going on 33 years.
We're from Nigeria. I came to the U.S. in '96, and then we got married back home in Nigeria, and she came over to join me.
I'm from a small town up in the Panhandle called Plainview, Texas. I have 4 daughters.
Brian has always been my best friend. I call him the calm to my crazy.
Once we started dating, we were pretty much inseparable.
I was originally born in Houston, Texas, and then moved up to St. Louis, Missouri. My dad got transferred, so moved up there, I guess about 1987 when I was about 7 years old.
We went to church for Christmas, for Easter. We had visited many churches, just didn't really feel that connection to actually commit to one.
Growing up, like my family would go to church like 5 times in a year. So I had never really had that constant connection. Never really read the Bible or anything.
We were involved in a church for about 21 years on the other side of town, and when we moved to this side of town, we just started looking for a church.
Very active in church. My mom always took us to Sunday school and weekly Bible studies and children's activities.
My mom and dad took us to church every Sunday.
I became a Christian at the age of 8. I grew up in a very Christian household.
I grew up in a Christian household also.
Growing up, we didn't go to church. I wasn't raised in a religious home whatsoever. My parents didn't go to church. We never went to church. When I was 18, started college and took a couple theology courses. Studied all, 800 different religions or whatever there was, and settled in on Buddhism.
I grew up in a single-parent household, and my mom, she had a real tough upbringing, and that affects her to this day. And it's real hard for her just even hugging me because of the stuff that she went through when she was a kid. Mom's situation, and we've never really had a lot of money, and that's just never been a thing. And so there's been often times where I've not necessarily been able to be a full kid. Oftentimes I've had to sacrifice my summers, babysit my little brother and sister so my mom could go to work. Or just figuring out what we're gonna eat today because we don't have the money to buy groceries right now. I was really, really confused, broken, just lost because so much stuff had happened. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know who to talk to, what to do, how to do it. I was just searching.
In 2010, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. I came to Katy and moved in with my daughter, Michelle, and her family, and started going to Texas Oncology. Right before Thanksgiving, I had my scans done, and I'm terminal now. I have it in my lungs. He gives me 3 to 6 months.
In February of 2014, we found out we were expecting identical twins. We had ultrasounds every week, and the babies were healthy, they were doing great, they had strong heartbeats. We learned that they were girls, and we just started dreaming about having 3 little girls running around our house. The day after Mother's Day, when on just a routine ultrasound, they noticed that there was a discrepancy in the amount of amniotic fluid that the babies had. He was seeing twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, stage 3, which is quite severe. And what that means is that one baby is getting too much blood from the placenta and the other baby is not getting enough.
And then that's when we were presented with the options before us as to what action to take and how to proceed.
I laid in the surgery room for 2 hours while they worked on me, praying, God, please save my babies. I don't know what this story is gonna be. I don't know what the outcome, but God, please, please save these baby girls. Let them come home with us. We were not sure what to expect after the surgery. Were the baby's going to be alive at our next ultrasound? We had no idea. We were just praying that we would be able to hear heartbeats. And amazingly enough, the next day we did. And I felt like it was a miracle then. I felt like, oh, God is in this. He is in this. He's with us. He's gonna see these babies through.
I had actually just graduated law school and was starting a law firm up in St. Louis, and had just bought a house and was kind of doing my thing up there, and my mom got real sick, so I chose to kind of give all that up to come down here. It was supposed to just be a temporary thing. I was just supposed to come down here, kind of take her to a couple doctors, get some paperwork, and then move her back up to St. Louis with me. And unfortunately, we went into the hospital and didn't leave for 4 months. It was just her body battling itself, and then she ended up passing away. So I kind of stuck with my Buddhist beliefs and just kept trying to go on that path, but I realized very quickly that that path wasn't getting me to where I needed to be.
I'm not afraid of death. I'm not ready for it. I tell people, my soul is ready, but my heart is not. I'm still young. I'm only 58, you know? I just don't want to leave my kids.
I got really sick about 2 years ago and ended up in the hospital for 3 weeks, 2.5 of which was in the ICU. And having small children and kind of doing everything on my own, I realized for the first time that I was not invincible. And it was a pretty scary realization. And so sitting in the hospital alone for 3 weeks, you start to think about things and you realize that, you know, maybe I can't do all this on my own. Maybe it's not just about me and this happiness. And so I started to question my faith again.
On Father's Day, I started running a fever. We called the doctor.
This was 20 weeks.
21 weeks. And I realized on the way down that my water had broken. And so they said, I'm very sorry, but you're going to deliver the babies. Just in that moment, to be told why I still could feel the babies inside of me moving, that there was nothing that they could do. As a mother, there's nothing that you wouldn't do for your children. And I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have been more for them. I delivered the babies, Madeline and Olivia, and
They were beautiful.
They were beautiful. We got to talk with them and hold them and rock them and sing to them.
Tell them how beautiful they were and how grateful we were to meet them, and that we were lucky that in the end we were able to tell them the next voice you hear is going to be Jesus.
It was the most difficult moments of my life, but yet there was a peace in all of it too. And I know that did not come from me, that did not come from Brian, but it came from God.
Honestly, everything was just so unclear because we weren't faithful churchgoers and we didn't really know the meaning of Christ in our lives or our families' lives. Our daughter Hannah, she's an 8th grader at Arnold Middle School, and a lot of her friends go to Live. Live is the youth program for the junior high and high school students. And she's been going to Live pretty faithfully every Wednesday night, loves it, can't imagine life without it. And you know, we visit a few churches here and there, and the look on her face and the talk on the way home from the Live experience, she said, Mom, can you just try
She was
second?
in tears. She was in tears.
She was crying, which made me cry, and I said, sure.
I think we've always liked Dr. Young. We've always watched him on TV.
On TV, yeah.
Yes. We moved down to Pearland, and we found out the second was like right at our backyard.
It's like, wow, this is my favorite pastor, and here I am, you know, in his church.
Once we moved, we knew we needed to find a new church home. And we started visiting churches all over. I mean, all over Houston, started visiting churches.
Everything just fit perfect. It was just exactly what our family loved, and we just felt at home here.
My daughter, Michelle, when they moved over here to Katy, her and her husband started going there, and me and Marcia would drive over on Sundays and go to church with them.
I got invited one day around snow ride time. Snow ride is, we don't get snow in Houston. Like, that's not a thing. Like, we're in southern Texas, we don't get snow. And so what Second Baptist does is pretty cool because they do their best to actually make snow. Like, there's an ice rink, there's like a Yeti walking around. That's the first part of it. And then you go inside and somebody talks to you, there's worship, and it's pretty awesome. So we went and we worshiped there, and we sat down and we started listening to this guy talk. And the more and more he talked, the more and more it hit me that, like, nothing is what I thought it was. It just drove home the idea of that, like, you really need to refocus your life and reevaluate yourself. When you look forward to the future, like, his passion rubbed off on me a lot.
You know, maybe thought I'd give this Christianity thing a try. And so I started researching churches around the Houston area and came upon this one. I got out of the hospital, and that very next weekend after I got out of the hospital, I came to church. I came with my husband. I brought my husband to church, and I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. He was not a fan.
I received 2 phone calls from one of the leaders in our Sunday school class that we had been attending, and this was prior to us joining.
I think he had just heard our story. We didn't even know him. He had just heard what had happened.
And, you know, just offered, you know, to pray for us, asked if we needed anything. So that was uplifting and encouraging, that people that I didn't even know this guy, and he reached out to us, but they cared enough to see how we were doing and just offer to help in any way they could.
I wanted to be in fellowship with people who were real about what they were going through. I really found that in a girls' Bible study that I started going to shortly after we joined Second. It was 3 months after we had lost the twins, and I just felt that I did need to share. I did need to open up and tell what I was going through, and that was hard. I just felt like God was urging me, like, this is the time. The girls just got up from where they were and asked to pray for me, laid their hands on me and prayed, and I just felt uplifted and supported.
I was like, okay, I really need to do this because this has been weighing on my heart, and it was just relief and determination and happiness when I walked forward. Like, that's all I could feel. When I made the decision to give my life to Christ, everything, like, I was sure. Like, there was no uncertainty about it.
We were in church one Sunday, and my husband had actually come to church with me again. We were in a place in our marriage that, you know, it was actually that weekend or that week leading up to church that, you know, I was gonna leave. We were gonna get a divorce because I couldn't do it anymore, and I couldn't do it on my own. And so he came to church, and we sat in church that Sunday. And the pastor, of course, was talking about everything I needed to hear, and it was amazing. It was like he had written this and was talking strictly to me about everything I needed to hear. And at that moment, you know, I just decided that, you know what, I was gonna do this, and I was gonna turn my life over to Christ and ask him to come into my heart. So we actually walked up to the front and walked up there, and, you know, at that moment, we gave the commitment to, we both, you know, my husband and I both gave the commitment to, you know, give our life over to Christ, and it was an amazing moment.
I felt like something was missing, you know. I mean, my baptism was as an infant, so I wanted to have like an adult baptism. I've always wanted that for a long time, for so many years.
We've been talking about it, you know, in the past, and we went out together, and I said, okay, this is like a new step for me. It's like I'm completely giving myself to God.
The experience was awesome. You know, it just seemed like I came to full circle.
Being immersed in the water was like life-changing, and I really felt something happen.
There's only 3 things that I've ever been emotional for. That was marrying my wife, the birth of my kids, and being baptized.
This is the beginning for what we're supposed to really feel in our hearts and what we're supposed to really be doing.
It truly was like my profession to the world. Hey, I believe in Jesus, I believe in God. It really hit my family like, oh, like he got baptized, like he's serious about this.
Me and my daughter, my youngest daughter, decided to get baptized, and it was just, it was marvelous. I don't know how else to explain it.
When I got baptized and came out of the water, it was truly like this renewed sense of myself. And the person that I thought that I was and how okay I was and how happy I was, I had no idea the sheer happiness that you could truly have in your heart when you turn it over to Christ.
This church, Second, made us feel welcome. It just helps with your journey and helps with your walk when you're making that journey and that walk with other Christians and with other people that, believe it or not, are going through the same things you're going through in life.
You go to Bible study and then we pray together. It's so real.
It's family and family. In other words, your own family and then family at the church.
It was wonderful because you'd look down the aisle and it's, you know, it's all families sitting there, and it's like a home. It's like a family.
God has genuinely given me a purpose to my life. And it's like the most amazing feeling ever to know what you need to do and what you're here for.
A lot of people see difference in me right now at work. And they tell me, you know, it's really amazing how much you've changed.
I'm complete. I don't have that void anymore.
I feel like a different person in my relationship with him and my relationship with the boys. You know, it's completely different. It gives me balance, it gives me peace.
And I have this overwhelming inner peace. So I'm not angry anymore, and I'm not scared anymore, and I'm not worried about what's gonna happen, because no matter what, I know he's in my heart, I know he's taking care of me, I know he's taking care of my children, and we're gonna be just fine.
Last year almost broke us, but he was the only thing that kept us together.
I know that he was with us through the suffering. We just ran back into the arms of God.